Welcome to the Pink Dress Effect podcast with Shannon and Kim. Today we have a special guest, Shai Hawkins. Shai is the author of Claiming My Journey journal, and it's actually a book, a self-care guide for transforming your life. And so we're excited to have you today, Shai.
Welcome.
And she has come all the way from Ohio to be here in North Carolina. So we appreciate you being here, and we want to learn all about you and why it's so important to claim your own journey, and kind of what was the kind of reason for writing this book and leading up to all that. If you want to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. One, thanks for having me. This is exciting. Claiming my journey. So we all remember the pandemic.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We remember how the pandemic had everyone in life stressed. We were dealing with so much, dealing with the shift in our normal lives, dealing with losing close ones, family members, and not knowing how to navigate that, and everyone being closed in. At that point in my career, I was the director over a call center, and I literally had to shift my employees from everyone being on site, working together, to sending them all home and working from home, and then continue the dynamic of having teamwork while I had employees losing family members faster than you can even imagine. And the career expected them to still function at the same pace. It was a lot for me mentally to handle. And at that time, I thought about, okay, how do I take Shai and my quotes that everyone would call Shaiisms.
Oh, I love that.
And make this launch something outside of what I do on the regular. So I started Creatively Shai LLC, and I started writing quotes at that time, and I began my own podcast. And out of that podcast, I said, okay, how do I take these quotes and reach people greater than those that are just on Facebook and Instagram? So I came up with Claiming My Journal as a way to have a healing process, but also a way for me to look back on all of the things that I've dealt with personally, and how I've been able to come from that person that was broken, shy, intimidated by life, to someone who said, oh, now I can claim who I am, how I walk into a room, and really claim my journey and be able to share it with others, how I've done so.
I love that. And I love how you talked about the quotes, because that's something that I love. And it's funny how you said Shaiisms, because I was like, God, her quotes are so good. And, you know, one of them you say, sometimes it is at our weakest we become our strongest. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Ooh.
I mean, without going into too much detail, but yeah.
As much as you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
As a person who didn't have a normal way of growing up. I left home, I always say 15, but someone reminded me recently I left home at 13.
Oh, wow.
That I was out and just out in the streets and kind of living a life. And my life wasn't the norm. But when I sat back at an older age and said, okay, I was in the streets. Some days I didn't know where I was going to lay my head, and it was my choice. And so for me to go from that and graduating high school and not going on to do anything, becoming a mom, learning to work, and then going from a job and learning how to launch a career to get to where I am today.
That's awesome.
It was a reason for me to be proud. But it was at my weakest points that I began to strengthen myself, to grow, and to learn how to be a better person from the inside out.
I love that.
Now, did you journal? Is that a part of your process?
I had a physician who taught me that the best way to heal was every night before going to bed to get a journal and write out what I was thinking.
Oh,
and
I love that.
That helped me to heal.
Wow. And I know when I was reading your bio online, you talked a lot about how you had a job, and then that went into a career, and there was someone who believed in you.
Yes.
And they took you under their wing, basically, and helped you, you know, become probably a contributor to your success,
Yes.
it sounds like.
Yeah. In my career, I have designed and implemented contact centers. So you know how you call and you speak to all these people to schedule appointments?
Oh, yeah.
So I actually learned how to do that from scratch and had a mentor who helped me.
Wow.
I had a certificate. She gave me 6 months to start college, but I built 2 very large contact centers for some large hospitals in the Northeast Ohio area.
That's awesome.
And I taught myself with her guidance by reading books and understanding here's how you put departments together. Here's how you write job descriptions. Here's how you learn how to motivate people who may not have been motivated to work and learn how to build a career. So it was a reason for me to be in the place that I was, and I didn't understand it then, but I shifted from a job where I just went to work every day and did my part to this is now my career. It is me taking charge and being a leader in something and teaching others that it's possible. Which is
That's awesome.
It
We talked
is.
about that
Yeah.
earlier on an episode we did
Yeah.
about how important that is to us.
Yeah.
in
But I want
people.
to ask you though, because you can become, if you've been through different things in life, you can become guarded. So when you have a mentor come into your, or someone wanting to help you come into your life, because we've talked about this, the receiving part of the healing journey, sometimes you can get so hyper independent that you don't want to receive help. How is that experience of having someone who wants to pour into you, receiving that?
I will go on the record to say I'm probably still very hyper independent. But the great thing about her that she taught me at that point in life is she didn't just treat me like I was her employee.
Aw.
She would, she embraced me in a way that I needed to be embraced. So, for example, I was a leader. I was running a department, and I didn't know how to talk to people. How I talk was still very, do it this way, do it that way. And I remember sending out an email that was extremely harsh.
Okay. Those good old harsh emails.
Those harsh emails. So they knew what your tone was.
Yes, they knew my tone. And I remember her calling me up and said, Dolly, that's what she would always call me. Dolly, come to my office, please.
Dolly.
And I went to her office and she said, you cannot send out emails like this. And I just started crying. And she said, nope, I don't want you to cry. She said, we're going to do something where I'm going to help you out.
That's awesome.
And,
That is
and make sure
awesome.
you understand. So
Yeah.
she implemented where before I would send out the emails, I would send them to her. And she would proofread.
That's wonderful.
And then after she proofread them, she would give me feedback and we would fix them. And she said, now you send them out, send out the emails. And then once I got to the point where I was learning from her, she brought me in the office and said, you don't need me to proofread for you.
Oh,
That gives me
the
chills. That does. It does.
I mean, but look, if we were talking
Yeah.
about being kind in the
Yes.
world, because our
Yeah.
world right now is kind of
Yes.
like, right? Like, that is a perfect example of
Yeah.
why it's so important to
Yes.
believe in other people and give them a chance
Yeah.
and
And
look
you
at the
as an
difference.
individual can make a difference in
Yes.
another person's life.
Yes.
You know, you
That's
don't
so
think about those
powerful.
opportunities.
That's awesome.
She did a lot to help me. And I remember when she transitioned away from being my boss, she brought me in the office and said, you don't need me.
Aww.
You've got this.
And at that point, did you feel like you had the confidence to just fly at that
I
point?
did not. But I did it, and I left that organization and went to another and did everything. And, I know you guys were talking previously about how God shows up and he does what is needed. And God planted in my life someone to help me and
Yes.
mentor me behind the scenes at that organization to
awesome.
help me learn kind of the dynamics of the organization so I could be successful. So I'm determined that he's planted people in my life to help me and to feed into me when I've needed it the most.
And that's what Kim says, even, just at any time with me, sometimes, you go through things, someone comes to help you. She was talking about her car earlier, like that's God, right? Just showing up in people. And that sounds like that person showed up in your life that way.
Yes, I have a lot of those people.
Yes.
That's so awesome. And then, this resonated with me because I know Kim and I know we talked on the phone before and, kind of, I feel like we're all kind of in that same healing, trying to figure out childhood stuff and lots of talks with my mama and all that stuff. But this is something I know for me, I know I forgot along the way at some point, but don't forget to water you, be open to all things that change.
Yes, it's important. More and more, the last 2 years, I've learned the importance of watering into me. And it looks different depending on who we are as individuals. For me, it is quiet moments. This year specifically, I started a lot of walking in my neighborhood, but
With
not
your cute
just
little
with my
dog.
cute little puppy. Our goal is 10,000 steps a day. We usually exceed our
Oh, that's
10,000
awesome.
steps, but I started leaving my phone at home
Oh, that's a great
and
idea.
walking and listening to the atmosphere,
Yeah.
the trees, the air.
Wow, you
the
guys have that in
barking.
I
common.
know. I know.
Those are the things I love to do. I implement it once a month. I have to do something that is self-care, whether it's a massage. I've tried Reiki, and I've been doing Reiki therapy, but doing different things to
Yeah.
bring me to my
Yeah.
center, to remind me how to breathe and relax when I breathe, and slow down the anxiousness of life
Yes.
that's around
Oh,
us.
that's so real.
Yeah.
That's so
Learning
'cause-
how to be still. We just talked about this,
Yes.
being still and being quiet and tuning out all of
Yes.
those external factors. And it's a hard place to get to where you're comfortable with just you and yourself
Yes.
and God, or, whatever you believe. But yeah, so that's great.
Yeah, and I was gonna say you guys have that Reiki.
Yeah, I know the Reiki
You like
sound
Reiki?
baths,
Yes.
and I'm a hippie. I'm like definitely a hippie at heart.
But that sound bath, we've talked about going.
I know.
can't
Well,
wait
the
to-
person left, and
Oh,
so
okay.
but I very much believe in all of that, and it's been very
Aura.
healing for me on my healing journey also.
Isn't that crazy that
Yeah.
it seems like this age, it seems like 40s, 50s, a lot of people in my life, it seems like late 40s, early 50s, they're going through this journey.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is.
Well, they'll
is it
say,
hormonal?
it's like
Claiming my journey.
It's
Claiming
like
your
it's
journey.
an awakening. They'll say
Yeah.
like midlife crisis, but it's not a midlife crisis. It's a midlife awakening.
Or is it, some of the things, that maybe you've kind of stuffed down there for so long and not wanted to deal with. And then maybe your children are a little bit more
Yeah.
grown. You're not quite as busy, maybe. You're still busy, but not quite. And you have more moments of quiet in your brain, and then your brain can really start to bring that stuff to the surface,
Yes,
maybe.
yes.
I don't know, but it's just interesting
Yeah.
that a lot of my friends, one girlfriend, she's never been to therapy a day in her life. And she's like, Shannon, I think I need to start going to therapy. Very quiet, she's like, I don't know what's happening. Something is happening. And I don't know if I like it, because it's kind of scary, right?
It is
To
scary.
deal with those things that we haven't dealt with in so long, or we've kind of tucked it away and think it's never going to come out.
I had a therapist say to me, are you speaking with your present voice or your historic voice?
Oh.
And I said,
Yeah.
it depends, because it can shift depending on my
Yeah.
mood.
Right.
But that
right.
was an eye-opener to me. My
Right.
present voice, who I am in current state, what's important to me. Or is it my historic voice? The things that have been just pushed down that I don't want to think about, and then they come up every now and again, and they cause all the
Yes.
anxiousness.
But how hard is it to speak in your present voice? Because, oftentimes when you're speaking from the present, who you are now, when you think about external factors and people in your life don't always, the historical voice can very much be present, and people want you to live in that frame. So how do you balance that of staying present when society, family doesn't always allow you to move into the present?
More of the boundaries for me. I've had to speak up and say, the Shai that you knew last year is not the Shai you're going to see
Oh,
today
okay.
and going forward.
Yeah.
And being comfortable with saying no. Some things people want us to do may not feel right,
Right.
and I've had to be comfortable with saying, no, I'm not doing that anymore.
Was that hard
Yeah.
for you when you initially started? Because I know
Yes.
that I've struggled with that.
Yeah.
Because I
Yes.
was always the girl, I make everybody happy and
Yes.
please. And now I'm like, but at what cost? It
Yeah.
was me.
Especially with my family members.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
To be able to say, no, I'm not doing that anymore.
It's hard.
I should
don't-
send her that song, huh?
Yes.
I'm going to send her that
yes.
song. Yeah.
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 It's really hard. And, I think, over this last year, like we said, we were all on this kind of healing journey, but to really get to that point of being able to quiet those voices is a difficult journey with family. Yeah. It's hard
Because
to
they
step out
worry.
there. Yeah.
And
And they love you.
Yes, and they love you.
Yeah.
And what did my dad tell me one day? This is when I lost my job 12 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And he sent me some money. And I was like, I can't take this. I'm ripping it up. It was a money order. He's like, you better not. That's money. Like we'll never get it back. And then he actually had to say to me, Shannon, you're my little girl. And you forget that context because we are their little girls, right? Our family, like with our parents. And would you do that for Trey? And I'm like, well, of course I would do it for Trey. Like, I don't think twice about my own child. But then
It's
you have
the
to remember,
receiving that I was talking
it's that
about.
receiving. But then you have to remember that in their eyes, it doesn't matter what age we are, we're still their child.
their
So they
child.
worry, like you said, and they want us to be happy and healthy and all those things, you know? I don't know. It's crazy. But did you have, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to ask, so when you think about the context of being on this healing journey, what's the biggest challenge you faced so far?
Letting go.
Letting go.
Yeah.
Like a
Letting go.
control thing, do you think?
Just letting go of what last year may have been, which looks different this year. And I'll just say a little bit so I don't get too emotional. So last October, my very close friend, I call him my person, passed away suddenly. So that was a sudden shift of life for me.
Yes.
So I had to learn how to let go and still place
Right.
me first while healing.
While healing.
Learning how to embrace the memories, to love the memories, to appreciate the memories and all we had, but being able to let go, to allow myself to heal, to grow, to continue to be happy, to be confident in who I am. So that has been probably the hardest I've experienced.
Letting go is hard. Yeah, no, I've had a major life transition over the last year, and I don't think whether it's the death of anything, it could be a person, it could be, a marriage, it could be, a job, it could be any of those things. But when you have to figure out, how do you allow yourself to grieve and still find joy in life, and how to hold space for both of those things to be true. I am sad and I am happy at the same time. And how do you reconcile that? And you slowly start to find your groove in that, and you are really able to experience true joy when you really, at times when you're really sad.
Yeah.
You can do that.
You can do them
It's
both.
not easy though, but it sounds like there's 10,000 steps a day and putting yourself, and some days it's probably hard, right?
Yeah.
Just to get up and go. I mean, even just being out of work 4 months and in no way comparing, but there's days where I'm just like, literally, I will say, get your butt out of bed, Shannon. Go have your tea. Like I have to tell because I just, there's not a lot of motivation. And I know I need to get to the gym, and I know I need to sit at the island and look for a job. And I ends up happening. Once I'm getting up, I'm good. But it's sometimes just getting up, I have to literally say that out loud.
Yeah,
just at
but that's
the place
grief
that
too.
I'm at. Yeah,
That's grief as well.
Yeah.
That's a different level of grief.
just
Maybe
in
you
a
need
different
a
type
puppy.
of way.
Yeah.
Puppies,
And I do love dogs. Your dog is the perfect little size. It's this cute little.
they make you get up. So
They
even
do.
when I
Yeah.
don't feel like it, he's
Yeah.
like, come on, get
And
up.
I've thought about that since my son went to college. But then my job, I was traveling like 4 states, so it would have been difficult. But I've thought about that oftentimes because you have a little guy,
And
or
they
a little
give you
girl.
so much love.
They really
do.
do.
So
It's that
much love.
unconditional.
So much love.
And I know yours is like just.
And he helped me a lot. Like I didn't want pets. And my daughter said, I think we should go find
So
a
you
pet
got
for
your
you."
dog just recently?
Yeah. This year.
Oh wow.
In January, February.
Okay, so
Because
it's-
I was having a hard time.
Yeah.
And she was like, no, Ma, I think you need a pet.
Aw.
Oh no, that's what we were talking about with me. I had a dog, Sammy, and he's passed on. But I grieved that dog harder than
I
any.
remember.
I mean, it took me a year to be able to
Because
talk.
you said you felt like it was a family member.
I felt
Well,
like
they
God
are.
sent
They
that
are.
dog to us. And when I was going through one of the most difficult times in my life, he would come and sit right next to me. And I just felt like he was a protector and a healer for me. And I felt like God sent, and he wasn't even Sky prayed for him. He was her dog, but he was
Yeah.
like my dog too.
Well, no, they're great because when I was going through my divorce, we had a boxer. Her name was Nike. And I remember there was nights I'd put my son to bed, and I remember sitting on the couch and just losing it.
Yeah.
And she would come over and put her little head here. And, boxers aren't small dogs, And then I'd, give her a little love, and it wasn't enough. So she'd jump up and she'd be all up, on your face. And it's like, they love you so much. They know when you're sad.
They do.
And they want to comfort you.
Yeah.
So maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll think about it once I get a job and I can afford dog
I have a
food.
grand doggy.
Yeah,
and
the
I love
grand dog.
Lolly. I love her.
Yeah, maybe someday, because I love dogs. I think they're great. They're sweet. But one thing, another quote that I really liked, and I think Kim would agree with this. Like, the best thing I've done is committed to loving myself physically, mentally, and spiritually. Do you have one that you focused on more, or just kind of you did the physical, the mental, and the spiritual? You kind of did them all.
I think it interchange depending on where I am and what's needed. I mean, as humans, we do so much to give for others, whether we're parents, as mothers. We place being a mother in front of taking care of ourselves so much.
We do.
And for years, it was my daughter, everything that she needed. Then it was my grandson, my grandson. And I would shift constantly. And now I just had to realize, before I can pour into the next person, I've got to spend time pouring into myself.
Yeah.
If it's mentally, how can I shift my mind from not being so sad? So I think I talk about it in this book, the mirror mantra.
Oh, yes, with the stickies.
Yeah, with the sticky notes. And every day I would take a sticky note and I would write a positive message to myself and put it on the mirror. And I kept it there for 3 months so I could go in and read those messages to myself.
Was that the bathroom mirror that you used every day?
Mirror.
Okay, so you saw them building.
Yes.
And just building. What a great
and
visual.
Yeah. And even if you don't want to do sticky notes, this year I did the erasable colored markers. And they were in my bathroom, and they stayed there until I could get past that moment where I felt like my mental wasn't breaking. And then when I was ready, then I erased them, and then I can start over.
I like that.
From a clean slate.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like erasing and starting over. That's kind of
that
a cool
sounds fun.
thing. I might go get a
I
little
got
mark.
a whole lot of stuff to erase.
I know. But I love that. Just even that, how they say write a letter to someone or whatever, and then rip it up and throw it away. It could kind of have that same effect.
Or give it to them to read. So
Yeah.
they can hear your perspective.
Yeah, that's true,
Sometimes
too.
it's easier to have it written. Yes, that is true.
Yeah. If it's easier to write than speak sometimes for people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there a book that you have? So you're writing. Is there a book that you really drew any kind of inspiration from? Anything you've read that was pivotal to your healing?
Secret.
The
from
Secret.
Was it Rhonda Byrne?
I have
The
that
Secret.
book.
Do you?
I started reading it
I remember
years
from
ago.
the back in the days with Oprah and all that.
I
Oh.
did the audio book.
Okay.
And I remember early on listening to it and literally driving and crying constantly.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, that was my first breakthrough.
What was it about it? What appealed to you?
Just speaking to the reality of being able to heal past the trauma, reminding me that I was better than the experiences that I had as a young child, that, I could get past things. And I was dealing with, that trauma, a divorce, being sick. I had a lot going on at once. And that book kind of reminded me I needed to shift my mindset and how I was thinking to help me get through it. So that was
And that
a
it was
big one.
possible.
Yes, and that is possible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So is the book
Yeah.
kind of, it's been so many years, is it more like if you shift your mindset, you can get
it's
through
more
kind
talking more of mindset shifting and how we
Okay.
think of things in different areas of life.
Yeah, because we can get stuck.
Yes.
And it's
It's
the
easy to
mindset
wallow.
that keeps it's easy to wallow.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
It's so easy.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, and sometimes, that's when on the other episode I was talking about, sometimes I feel like, God's like, okay, Kim, stop with the temper tantrum, because it's like you want to stay in it and you want to feel that pain and you feel justified in sitting there. But the reality is you got to move through that. It's not meant for you to stay there.
Yeah. Another one, more of, not really career guided, but it was when I read it. Larry Winget, Shut Up, Stop Whining, and Get a Life.
Okay, there you go.
Just
I need to
the
read that
title
one.
in itself. I read that book from front to back in one day. That's how good
Really?
it was. Yes.
Okay. Might have to
Shut
get
up,
that.
stop whining, and get a life.
I like
Yes.
that.
And it's easy to feel that way. I remember when I lived in outside of Pittsburgh. My son was small. it was a tough time in my life. And I remember thinking, I talked to a cousin, oh, we're building a house. Oh, they're having a baby. They're getting me all this stuff. And I felt so stuck in my life, just stuck because I was miserable. I had stopped working. We moved to Pittsburgh. I wasn't happy. Just, it was awful. I gained a lot of weight. It was just, and I remember feeling that way. I needed to read that book at that time, but nothing I did could get me unstuck. I couldn't get unstuck for whatever reason. I guess we just go through that in our journey, right? Just,
Yeah.
I mean, it was awful, like for years, and you're just like, whoa,
But you came through it.
No, yeah.
You
We moved to
did.
North Carolina,
Yeah,
then
well,
and then things happened. But
you still moved forward.
But that was all right. That was all good. That was all good to move in here, and I think that was the beginning of really stepping into my healing and trusting my faith.
Yes.
That was the big catalyst of trusting my faith, and I think, and that's really probably where I'm today. Yeah. And being able to be here. But we're almost out of time. But this one really spoke to me. I mean, they all spoke to me, but just kind of as we're ending. It's a great reminder that your life is your message to the world to live with love. And we talked a little bit about that earlier, about all this kind of strife in the the nation and the world, and just the stuff that's going on, and how people are responding with hate all over the place. And why do we have to be like that? Why can't we respond with love,
Love heals.
Love heals.
Love heals. At the end of the day, we're taught to have this closed heart, guard your heart.
Yeah.
Don't allow anyone in, when in reality, by having an open heart and learning how to love, even if it's a stranger on the corner, learning how to embrace people through their moments, it helps to heal you and that person.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you say to someone who's afraid to love?
Don't give up on yourself. I have
maybe
to
to
say,
take those walls down, right?
Yeah, don't give up on yourself. Learn how to write those fears down. My favorite quote is "Give fear the finger," because once you have that mentality, it gives you the oomph you need to just fight it. But I am a walking example that you can succeed and get past many traumas in life. You just learn how to be stronger each time and help yourself through the process.
That's so awesome.
And tell us about your podcast before you
and
leave.
your book, your other book too.
So I too have a podcast, Heal and the Letter U, on YouTube and all of the podcast channels. And I've had it for 5 years, but this year I'm doing a 52-part series, which was launched from my new book, Bloom, which is a 12-month self-care journal that teaches you more about mindfulness, wellness, and kind of walks you through that process. So
that's exciting. You got a lot going on. Sound busy.
Yes.
That's exciting. Well, Shai, thank you so much for coming on. We are so grateful that you came all this way. I know you're visiting family, so I hope that's wonderful for you. And, just thankful that you're willing to share your story, because it's brave. It's brave to do, I think, when people talk about their stuff to help other people, right?
Yes.
So thank you so much.
And gives hope, because every story that you gave is a story of hope and moving forward, and that's a wonderful light to put into the world.
And we can change our lives. I mean, you're a testimony of that, and you're trying to impact other people by your podcast and the books that you're writing. So thank you for that. So
thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us on the Pink Dress Effect podcast, and we'll see you next time.